Mia, honey, her voice carried across the conference room. Did you get that dress at a thrift store? Because it's giving very 2015. The entire marketing department turned to look. 30 people, 30 pairs of eyes, all on me. I was wearing a midi-length dress in deep charcoal. Simple lines, no logos, just clean, precise tailoring that had taken me 3 evenings to perfect. Ashley stood near the bar in head-to-toe Gucci. The monogram print screamed from every surface. Her heels were 6 inches high. Her jewelry caught the light like a disco ball. She looked like she was trying very hard. I looked like I wasn't trying at all. That was the point. But before I tell you what happened next, before I tell you about Paris, about Milan, about the moment Ashley's entire world collapsed, I need to know something. Where are you watching this right now? Drop your city in the comments, your state, your country, because what I'm about to tell you happened in Chicago, in a glass tower overlooking Lake Michigan, but it could happen anywhere. It could happen to you. So tell me, where are you joining me from? What are you doing right now? Making dinner? On your lunch break? Late night scroll before bed? Comment below. Let's build something here. A community of people who understand what it's like to be underestimated. Because that's what this story is really about. Now, back to that conference room. It's custom, I said quietly. Ashley's laugh was like breaking glass. Custom from where? The clearance rack? Her friend Brittany snorted into her wine. I took a sip of my champagne, let the bubbles settle on my tongue. Something like that, I said. My manager, my manager Lauren, shifted uncomfortably near the window. She'd always liked me, but she wasn't about to defend me in front of the entire department. That's corporate life. Everyone's your friend until it costs them something. I'm just saying, Ashley continued, walking closer, if you want to move up in this company, you need to look the part. Dress for the job you want, right? She gestured at her own outfit. The Gucci bag probably cost $3,000, the shoes another $800, the dress somewhere north of $2,000. I knew because I'd seen the price tags online. Ashley made $65,000 a year as a junior marketing coordinator. I made $70,000 as a senior content strategist. Neither of us could afford her wardrobe, which meant credit cards, debt, living in a studio apartment in a questionable neighborhood so she could look rich at office parties. I lived differently. My apartment in Logan Square was small but comfortable. I had a spare bedroom I'd converted into something else, something Ashley knew nothing about, something no one at Morrison and Blake Marketing knew anything about. Thanks for the advice, I said. Ashley's smile was victorious. She'd made her point, established dominance, reminded everyone that she belonged in rooms like this, and I was just there. I finished my champagne, set the glass on the table, and went home. The elevator ride down 42 floors felt longer than usual. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend Jordan. How's the Cardi? Exactly as terrible as expected, I typed back. Did Ashley say something? Always. One day, Jordan wrote, she's going to find out, and I want to be there when it happens. I smiled at my phone. Soon, I whispered to the empty elevator, because here's what Ashley didn't know. Here's what no one at Morrison and Blake Marketing knew. That custom dress I was wearing? I'd designed it, cut the pattern myself, sourced the fabric from a supplier in New York, spent 3 evenings hand-stitching the seams to invisible perfection. The dress Ashley mocked wasn't cheap. It was a prototype. And in 72 hours, someone very important was going to see a photograph of it, someone who would change everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back, 6 months earlier, to the moment this whole thing started, to the night I decided to stop playing small. 6 months before that office party, I was sitting in my spare bedroom at 2 in the morning, surrounded by fabric. Sketches covered every surface, the desk, the floor, the walls. My sewing machine hummed in the corner. I'd been designing clothes since I was 14, making my own patterns since 16. By the time I got to college, I could construct a garment from scratch in a weekend. But life got complicated. Student loans, rent, the reality that fashion design programs cost more than I could ever afford. So I got practical. Took a marketing degree instead, got a job at Morrison and Blake, told myself I'd pursue design someday. Someday turned into 6 years. 6 years of writing promotional copy for products I didn't care about. 6 years of sitting in meetings about brand positioning and target demographics. 6 years of watching people like Ashley climb the ladder by looking the part instead of doing the work. And then, 6 months ago, something broke open inside me. I was scrolling Instagram, late night, couldn't sleep. A sponsored ad appeared. Emerging designer competition. Submit your portfolio, winner featured at New York Fashion Week. My finger hovered over the screen. The deadline was in 3 weeks. I hadn't completed a full collection in years, but something in my chest pulled tight. That feeling when you know, really know, that if you don't do something right now, you might never do it at all. I clicked. The application was extensive. They wanted 6 complete looks, professional photographs, a design statement, references. I had none of that. What I had was a spare bedroom, a sewing machine, and 3 weeks. I took the next day off work, told Lauren I had food poisoning, went to the fabric district on West Adams instead. The warehouse smelled like possibilities. Bolts of silk and wool and cotton stacked to the ceiling. I ran my hands over everything, testing weight, testing drape. Looking for something specific? The owner, an older Korean woman named Mrs. Kim, appeared beside me. "Designer?" I heard myself say. She studied me. "Trying to be?" Mrs. Kim smiled. "That fabric there," she pointed to a bolt of charcoal wool crepe, "very special, from Italy, just came in." I looked at the price tag. $200 for 3 yards. My entire fabric budget was $400. "It's perfect," I said. Over the next 3 weeks, I barely slept. I'd work my regular job during the day, come home at 6, eat something from a can, and then sew until 3 in the morning. My first design was a coat, long, minimal, with a collar that stood up in a way that felt architectural. The second was a jumpsuit in deep navy, clean lines, unexpected pockets. By the 3rd week, I had 6 pieces. They weren't like anything I'd seen on runways. No logos, no obvious branding, nothing that screamed for attention. Just quietly perfect construction, fabric that moved like water, seams you had to look for to find. Jordan came over the night before the deadline. "These are incredible," she breathed, running her hand over the coat. "Mia, these are really incredible." "They're okay," I said. "Stop." Jordan grabbed my shoulders. "Look at me. These are better than okay. These are better than half the stuff I see at Nordstrom's." I wanted to believe her, but doubt is a powerful thing. "What if I'm not good enough?" I whispered. Jordan's eyes went fierce. "What if you are good enough and you never find out because you were too scared to try?" I submitted the application at 11:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the deadline. And then I waited. 1 week passed, 2 weeks, nothing. I went back to work, back to writing copy about laundry detergent and software solutions, back to pretending I was satisfied with the career I'd chosen out of fear instead of passion. Ashley got a promotion, junior coordinator to senior coordinator. She celebrated by buying a new Prada bag and making sure everyone in the office saw it. "Investment pieces," she told me in the break room. "If you want people to take you seriously, you have to look successful, even if you're not there yet." I smiled and nodded. Thought about the 6 garments hanging in my spare bedroom. Thought about the application I'd submitted. Thought about all the ways I'd made myself small to fit into spaces that were never designed for me. And then On a Tuesday afternoon, while I was in a meeting about Q3 marketing objectives, my phone buzzed. An email. Subject line: Emerging Designer Competition. Finalist notification. My heart stopped. I opened it under the table. Dear Miss Mia Chen, we are pleased to inform you that you have been selected as one of 20 finalists. The meeting continued around me. Lauren was talking about conversion rates. Ashley was taking notes on her iPad, looking important. And I was reading the email that would change my entire life. The finalists would be featured in a showcase in New York in 6 weeks with industry professionals in attendance, buyers, press, influencers, and scouts from the major fashion weeks. I looked up. Ashley was watching me. Everything okay? She asked sweetly. I locked my phone. Everything's perfect, I said, and I meant it. I told no one at work. Not Lauren, not the other content strategists, definitely not Ashley. This was mine. For the first time in 6 years, I had something that belonged only to me, something they couldn't diminish or dismiss or take credit for. The next 6 weeks blurred together. I worked on my collection every spare moment, refining, perfecting. I took vacation days, called in sick twice, told everyone I had a family emergency. Jordan was my only confidant. You're glowing, she said one evening, watching me press a seam. I've never seen you like this. Like what? Alive. She was right. For 6 years, I'd been going through motions, playing a role, the responsible one, the practical one, the one who chose security over passion. But late at night in my spare bedroom, with fabric under my fingers, I remembered who I actually was. Someone who created things, someone who saw beauty in construction and proportion, and the way a collar could frame a face. Someone who'd been hiding. The showcase was on a Saturday. I took the Friday off, told the office I had a dentist appointment, flew to New York instead. The venue was in Soho, a converted warehouse with exposed brick and 20-foot ceilings. My collection hung on a rack with my name, Mia Chen, Emerging Designer, Chicago. 20 finalists, 20 racks. I walked through slowly, looking at everyone else's work. There was talent here, real talent. A designer from Seattle had created an entire collection from recycled materials. A woman from Austin had made architectural pieces that looked like wearable sculptures. A man from Boston had tailored suits so precise they looked like they'd been painted on. My collection looked quiet by comparison. Simple, understated. I felt doubt creeping back in. What if I'd made a mistake? What if quietly perfect wasn't enough in a world that rewarded loud and obvious? These are stunning. I turned. A woman stood beside my rack, mid-50s, elegant. Her clothes were expensive but subtle. Real wealth, not performed wealth. She was examining my coat, the one made from Mrs. Kim's Italian wool. The construction, she said, turning the collar. This is hand-stitched. Yes. She looked at me. You did this? I nodded. All of it? Pattern drafting, cutting, sewing? Yes. She studied me for a long moment, then extended her hand. Claudette Moreau. I scout for Paris Fashion Week. The room tilted. I've been doing this for 23 years. I've seen thousands of designers. Most are technically competent. Some are creative. Very few understand restraint. She ran her hand over the jumpsuit. This is restraint. This is confidence. You're not screaming for attention. You're whispering. And that's far more powerful. I couldn't breathe. I'd like to invite you to show at Paris Fashion Week, February showcase, emerging designer section. Are you interested? I managed to nod. Good. She pulled out a card. Have your people contact my people. We'll discuss details. She walked away. I stood there holding her card. Claudette Moreau, Paris Fashion Week, February. Jordan screamed so loud when I called her at the airport that people turned to stare. "You're going to Paris. You're showing at Fashion Week." "I don't have people," I said, laughing and crying simultaneously. She said to have my people contact her people. I don't even have a website. "We'll figure it out," Jordan said fiercely. "You're doing this. We're making this happen." The flight home felt like floating. I'd actually done it. Taken a risk, submitted the application, created something true, and it had worked. Monday morning, I walked into Morrison and Blake wearing one of my own designs, a simple sheath dress, black, perfect seaming, invisible zipper. Ashley looked up from her desk. "New dress?" Her tone suggested it wasn't a compliment. "New designer," I said. She snorted. "Let me guess, Target's elevated collection?" I smiled, said nothing. Over the next 3 months, I lived a double life. By day, Mia Chen, senior content strategist, writing copy about software solutions. By night, Mia Chen, fashion designer, preparing for Paris Fashion Week. I built a website, created social media accounts, started posting behind-the-scenes content of my design process. Slowly, very slowly, people started noticing. A fashion blogger with 50,000 followers shared one of my pieces. A boutique in Brooklyn reached out about carrying my work. A stylist asked if she could borrow pieces for a photo shoot. My Instagram went from 2,000 to 3,000. Still nothing compared to major designers, but it was something. It was proof that what I was doing mattered to someone beyond myself. Ashley had no idea. No one at work did. I kept both lives carefully separated. Morrison and Blake Mia wore simple, understated clothes to the office, never talked about fashion, never mentioned Paris. Designer Mia existed only online and in my spare bedroom, and in the messages I exchanged with Claudette's team about booth placement and lighting requirements and model bookings. "When are you going to tell them?" Jordan asked. "I'm not," I said. "You're going to Paris Fashion Week, and you're not going to tell anyone at work?" "Why would I?" "Because it's amazing, because you should be proud." "I am proud, but that world doesn't need to know about this one, not yet." Jordan shook her head. "You're better than me. If I were you, I'd walk into that office with a giant poster that said, 'Paris Fashion Week,' and tape it to Ashley's forehead." I laughed. But part of me understood the appeal. Part of me wanted to see Ashley's face when she realized, wanted to watch her process the information, wanted to see the exact moment she understood that the person she'd been mocking for 2 years was about to do something she could only dream about. But I wasn't ready yet. I had work to do first. Paris was in 8 weeks. Paris in February was cold. The kind of cold that settled into your bones and didn't leave. I arrived 3 days before the showcase. My collection was packed in garment bags, 12 pieces total, each one representing months of work, of late nights, of choosing this over sleep, over social life, over everything else. The venue was stunning. Le Carrousel du Louvre, beneath the actual Louvre Museum. I stood in the space where I'd be showing and felt dizzy. 2 years ago, I was writing marketing copy about laundry detergent. Now I was here. First time, a voice behind me. I turned. Another designer, young, maybe 25, bright pink hair and an oversized blazer. "That obvious?" "You have that look," she said, grinning. "Like you're not sure if this is real or if you're about to wake up." "Exactly that." "I'm Phoenix, from Brooklyn." "Mia, Chicago." We shook hands. "Want to get coffee?" Phoenix asked. "I'm too nervous to be alone right now, and all my friends are back in New York telling me I'm crazy for spending my rent money on this." I laughed. "Coffee sounds perfect." We found a cafe near the Seine. Phoenix ordered in perfect French. I ordered by pointing at the menu and hoping. "How long have you been designing?" Phoenix asked. "Seriously? About a year." Before that, I had a corporate job and designed in my spare time. Phoenix's eyes widened. You left your job? Not yet, I admitted. I'm on unpaid leave. Smart. I quit my job at a gallery and my parents think I've lost my mind. She took a sip of coffee. But I couldn't keep doing something that made me miserable just because it was safe. I nodded. We talked for 2 hours about design, about risk, about the terror and exhilaration of finally doing the thing you'd always been too scared to try. What happens after this? I asked. Phoenix shrugged. No idea. Maybe I get picked up by a boutique. Maybe I go viral and suddenly I'm the next big thing. Maybe I go back to New York broke and have to beg for my job back. And you're okay with that? I'm okay with trying, she said. I'm not okay with wondering what if for the rest of my life. The showcase was on Saturday evening. I spent the day setting up. My booth was small, simple, just like my designs. White walls, minimal lighting, my 12 pieces hanging in a perfect row. Other designers had elaborate setups, video screens showing their process, dramatic lighting, music. I had silence and space. Claudette appeared an hour before doors opened. Nervous? She asked. Terrified. She smiled. Good. Fear means you care. The designers who aren't nervous are the ones who don't understand what's at stake. She walked along my rack slowly, touching fabric, examining seams. You've grown, she said finally. These pieces are even stronger than what I saw in New York. I had good motivation, which was, I thought about Ashley, about 2 years of dismissive comments, about being made to feel small in a job that was never supposed to be my whole life. Proving something to myself, I said. Claudette nodded. The best designers always are. The doors opened at 6. Buyers flooded in. Stylists, editors, influencers with cameras, bloggers taking notes. They moved through the space like a wave. Some stopped at my booth. Most kept walking. That was fine. I wasn't trying to be for everyone. A woman in her 60s stopped, ran her hand over my coat. May I try this? She asked. Of course. I helped her into it. She stood in front of my mirror, turned, studied the lines. This is extraordinary, she said quietly. What's your price point? I told her. She didn't flinch. I own a boutique in Geneva. I'd like to carry your work. Do you have a line sheet? I handed her one. She took my card. I'll be in touch. A stylist asked to borrow pieces for a photo shoot. A blogger wanted to feature me in an article about emerging designers. A buyer from a department store in London asked about wholesale. By the end of the night, I had 17 business cards. 17 people who saw something in my work. 17 possibilities. Phoenix found me after. How'd you do? I think good, maybe. Me too, she was glowing. A boutique in Paris wants to carry my stuff. Can you believe it? Paris. We hugged. 2 women who'd taken massive risks, standing in the Louvre with people who believed in our work. That night, I walked along the Seine. The Eiffel Tower lit up behind me. My phone buzzed. An Instagram notification. Someone had posted a photo of my coat. The caption, discovered this incredible emerging designer at Paris Fashion Week. Clean lines, perfect construction, quiet luxury at its finest. At Mia Chen Design. Everyone needs to know this name. The post had 6,000 likes. 6,000 people seeing my work. I screenshotted it, sent it to Jordan. Her response? I'm screaming, Mia. This is happening. And it was. It really was. But the best part, the part that made me smile alone in the dark with the Seine flowing beside me, was that back in Chicago, Ashley had no idea. She was still mocking my clothes, still thinking I was just a content strategist with bad fashion sense, still completely unaware that everything was about to change. The office party was in 3 weeks. I'd be back by then, wearing one of my own designs, and this time, when Ashley commented, I'd be ready. The flight back to Chicago felt different. I was the same person, but also not. I'd spent 5 days in Paris, 5 days being Mia Chen, designer, being seen, being taken seriously. Now I was going back to Morrison and Blake marketing, back to being Mia Chen, content strategist, the woman who wrote promotional copy and sat quietly in meetings and let Ashley make jokes at her expense. Jordan picked me up from O'Hare. "You're glowing," she said immediately. "I'm exhausted." "No, you're different. You're standing differently." She was right. Something had shifted. I'd spent so long making myself small, fitting into a space that was never designed for me, being grateful for a job I didn't love because it was stable and safe, and what you were supposed to do. But in Paris, I'd remembered something. I was good at this, really good. The people who saw my work didn't see it as a hobby or a side project or something cute I did in my spare time. They saw it as legitimate, as valuable, as something worth investing in. That changed things. "When do you go back to work?" Jordan asked. "Monday." "Are you going to tell them?" I looked out the window at Chicago passing by, the skyline in the distance, Lake Michigan, gray and cold. "No," I said. "Not yet." Monday morning felt surreal. I walked into Morrison and Blake wearing one of my Paris pieces, the sheath dress, black, simple, the one a buyer from London had asked about. Lauren waved from her office. Ashley looked up from her desk. "Welcome back. How was your vacation?" "Good," I said. "Where'd you go again?" "Paris." Ashley's eyebrows rose. "Paris? Wow. Didn't know content strategists made Paris money." I smiled. I budget carefully. It wasn't a lie. Everything I'd earned from freelance design work had gone into Paris, into fabric, into the showcase fee, into believing in myself enough to try. "Well, you'll want to check your inbox," Ashley continued. "We got a new client while you were gone. Luxury fashion brand. They want to revamp their entire digital presence." My heart skipped. "Fashion?" "Yeah, some boutique brand, very niche. They want us to handle their social media strategy and content calendar." Ashley rolled her eyes. "Honestly, I don't get high fashion. It's all so pretentious. Like, just make normal clothes, you know?" I sat at my desk, opened my inbox. The client was a mid-tier luxury brand based in Milan. They wanted Morrison and Blake to help them reach American consumers, younger demographic, digital-first strategy. The irony wasn't lost on me. 2 weeks ago, I was showing at Paris Fashion Week. Now I was being asked to market someone else's fashion brand. The meeting was scheduled for Thursday. Lauren wanted me to lead the pitch. "You've been doing great work. I think you're ready for more client-facing responsibility." I should have been excited. A year ago, I would have been. But now it felt like playing pretend, like putting on a costume and performing a role that didn't fit anymore. Thursday arrived. The client came to our office, two representatives from the Milan brand, both impeccably dressed, both taking in our conference room with barely concealed judgment. "Thank you for meeting with us," the creative director said. His name was Luca. "We're looking to expand our American presence. We believe digital marketing is the key." I walked them through our proposal: content strategy, Instagram campaigns, influencer partnerships, email marketing sequences, all the things I was good at, all the things that used to feel important. Luca nodded along. "This is comprehensive. You clearly understand the market." "Thank you." "Do you follow fashion?" His colleague asked. "You seem very knowledgeable about the industry." Ashley jumped in. "Mia's more of a practical dresser, right, Mia? Not really a fashion person." She was smiling, friendly, but the dismissal was there, like it always was. Luca looked at me. "Is that true?" I met his eyes. "I appreciate fashion," I said carefully. "I think good design speaks for itself, whether people recognize it or not." Something shifted in Luca's expression. Interesting, he said. That's very close to our brand philosophy. The meeting ended well. Luca shook my hand. We'll be in touch. I think Morrison and Blake might be exactly what we need. After they left, Lauren was ecstatic. That was perfect. Mia, you nailed it. I think we're going to land this account. Ashley was less enthusiastic. I could have handled that pitch, Ashley said to Brittany in the break room, loud enough for me to hear. I made tea and said nothing. That night, I checked my email. 3 new messages from Paris connections. The Geneva boutique wanted to place an order, 40 pieces. The stylist wanted to feature my work in a magazine spread. The London buyer had sent detailed questions about my production capabilities. I sat in my spare bedroom. My sewing machine hummed in the corner. Fabric waited in neat stacks. 2 lives, 2 versions of myself. But they couldn't coexist forever. Something had to give. The office party was in 1 week. I looked at the dress hanging on my rack, the one I designed specifically for that night. Charcoal gray, perfect lines, subtle details that only someone who really understood construction would notice. I smiled. Ashley had no idea what was coming. The week before the party, everything accelerated. The Geneva boutique sent a contract. They wanted exclusive rights to carry my designs in Switzerland. Minimum order, 100 pieces over 6 months. 100 pieces. I'd made 12 for Paris. The scale was overwhelming. You need to quit your job, Jordan said when I showed her the contract. I can't. Mia, you literally cannot fulfill this order while working full-time at Morrison and Blake. She was right. The math didn't work. Even if I sewed every evening and weekend, I couldn't produce that volume alone. I'd need help, a production partner, maybe a small team. I'd need to be a real business. I'm scared, I admitted. Jordan's face softened. I know, but you're already doing the scary thing. You went to Paris. You showed your work. People want to buy it. The scary part is over. This feels scarier. Because it's real now, she said. When it was just a dream, you could always tell yourself, someday. Now, someday is here, and you have to decide. Are you going to step into it, or are you going to stay in a job you've outgrown because it's familiar? I signed the contract that night, sent it back to Geneva, and started making a plan. At work, the fashion client from Milan came through. Luca called Lauren directly. Morrison and Blake got the account. They wanted me as the lead strategist. This is huge for you. Major client, international brand. This could mean a promotion. 6 months ago, I would have been thrilled. Now, I felt trapped. The kickoff meeting was scheduled for the Monday after the office party. I'd have to tell them something before then, but not yet. Ashley had been particularly insufferable that week. She'd landed a small client on her own, a local coffee chain, nothing major, but she treated it like she'd secured a Fortune 500 company. Some of us are really stepping up, she announced in a team meeting, looking directly at me, taking on leadership roles, making things happen. Lauren smiled diplomatically. Everyone on this team brings value. Of course, Ashley said sweetly. I just think it's important to recognize initiative. Some people are content to coast. Others push themselves. I caught Jordan's text under the table. I want to throw my laptop at her face. I sent back, 1 more week. The office party was Friday. Annual winter celebration. Mandatory attendance, open bar and catered food in the conference room with the lake view. I'd been to 4 of these. They were always the same. Ashley holding court near the bar, wearing something expensive and obvious, making sure everyone noticed. The senior partners pretending to care about the junior staff. Lauren trying to network her way to the next level. And me, standing near the windows, counting down until I could politely leave. This year would be different. I'd chosen my dress weeks ago. Deep charcoal, the same fabric as the coat that caught Claudette's attention, hand-stitched seams, a neckline that was perfectly precise. Simple, elegant, understated. Everything Ashley's wardrobe wasn't. "What are you wearing to the party?" Brittany asked on Thursday. Ashley was at her desk but listening. "Just something I have at home," I said. "Thrift store special," Ashley called over. I smiled. "Something like that." Thursday night, I pressed the dress. Steam rising, fabric settling into perfect form. My phone rang. Unknown number. International code. "Hello? Mia Chen? This is Claudette Moreau." My heart stopped. "Claudette, hi. I'm calling because I wanted you to hear this from me directly. Vogue Paris wants to feature you in their March issue, Emerging Designers to Watch. They were very impressed with your Paris showing." The room tilted. Vogue Paris? March issue. The article comes out in 3 weeks. They'll want to interview you, photograph your work. Are you available? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Wonderful. My assistant will send details. Mia, this is significant. Vogue doesn't feature unknown designers often. This will change things for you. After we hung up, I sat in silence. Vogue Paris, March issue, 3 weeks. I texted Jordan, "Call me now." She called in 30 seconds. What happened? Vogue Paris. Screaming, so much screaming. "You have to quit your job," Jordan was yelling. "You can't be in Vogue and writing copy about software. That's insane." The article comes out in 3 weeks. After the office party. After the office party, I confirmed. Jordan was quiet for a moment. Then, "Oh my God, Mia, Ashley is going to lose her mind." "I know. You're really not going to tell anyone before the article drops?" I thought about it. About walking into Morrison and Blake after the Vogue article came out. About Ashley seeing my work in an international fashion magazine. About Lauren realizing the content strategist she'd been managing was about to be profiled in one of the most prestigious publications in fashion. "I'm going to let the work speak for itself," I said. Friday arrived. I left work at 4 to get ready. Did my hair, minimal makeup, put on the dress. Brittany came over to see. "You look incredible," she breathed. "Mia, you look like money." "I look like myself." "Exactly." The party started at 6. I arrived at 6:30, fashionably late. The conference room was already crowded. Ashley was holding court near the bar, designer dress, statement jewelry, hair professionally styled. She looked expensive. She looked like she was trying. The room didn't fall silent. That only happens in movies. But heads turned. I saw Lauren notice, then Brittany, then others. Ashley was mid-sentence when she saw me. Her expression shifted. Confusion first, then assessment, then something like annoyance. I got a glass of champagne from the bar. "Mia," Lauren approached, "you look lovely. Is that new?" "Recent," I said. "It's beautiful, very elegant." "Thank you." Ashley materialized beside us. "Mia, honey," her voice had that edge. "Did you get that dress at a thrift store? Because it's giving very 2015. There it was, the moment I'd been waiting for. 30 people nearby, conversations pausing, attention shifting. I took a sip of champagne. "It's custom," I said quietly. Ashley laughed. "Custom from where? The clearance rack?" Brittany snorted. I could have left it there, could have let it slide like I'd let everything slide for 2 years. But something was different now. I was different. "Something like that," I said. Lauren shifted uncomfortably. Ashley moved closer, examining my dress with theatrical scrutiny. "I'm just saying, if you want to move up in this company, you need to look the part. Dress for the job you want, right?" She gestured at her own outfit. Gucci, head to toe, logos everywhere. "Thanks for the advice," I said, but I didn't move away. Ashley blinked. Usually I retreated, went quiet, let her have the moment. "Seriously though," she pressed, "where do you shop? Because some of us might want to know where not to go." Brittany laughed. A few others looked uncomfortable. I finished my champagne, set the glass down, and pulled out my phone. "Actually," I said, "I design my own clothes." Ashley's smile froze. "You what?" I turned my phone screen toward her. My Instagram, @Mia Chen Design. 12,000 followers now. Photos from Paris Fashion Week. My collection at Le Carrousel du Louvre. Claudette Moreau tagged in a post. Ashley stared. "What is this?" I said calmly. "My design portfolio. I showed at Paris Fashion Week last month. This dress is from that collection." The nearby conversations had stopped completely now. Lauren moved closer. "Wait, you were at Paris Fashion Week?" I said. "Emerging Designers Showcase. I was selected as a finalist last year." "You're a fashion designer?" This from someone in accounting. "I'm working on it." Ashley's face had gone pale. "You never said anything. You never asked." I could see her processing. 2 years of comments, 2 years of dismissing my clothes, 2 years of performing superiority, and the entire time, I'd been quietly building something real. "Paris Fashion Week," Lauren repeated. Mia, that's incredible. Why didn't you tell anyone?" "I wanted to make sure it was real first," I said. Ashley was scrolling through my Instagram now, her hand trembling slightly. These are actually good," she said quietly. Like she couldn't believe it, like it didn't fit with her understanding of who I was supposed to be. "Thank you," I said. "A boutique in Geneva wants to carry my work. I'm also being featured in Vogue Paris next month. Emerging designers to watch." The words hung in the air. Vogue Paris. Ashley's face went through several expressions. Shock, disbelief, something that looked like anger. "Vogue?" Brittany's voice was small. "The March issue." Lauren was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. "Mia, I don't even know what to say. This is amazing." "It's been a lot of work," I said. "I bet." Lauren looked genuinely impressed. "Does this mean, are you leaving Morrison and Blake?" The question everyone was thinking. I'd been thinking it too. The Geneva contract, the Vogue feature, the orders coming in, the Milan clients I was supposed to lead starting Monday. 2 lives that couldn't coexist. "I'm giving my notice next week," I heard myself say, deciding in that moment, out loud in front of everyone. "I appreciate everything I've learned here, but I need to focus on design full-time now." Lauren nodded slowly. "I understand. I'm disappointed to lose you, but Mia, this is extraordinary. You should absolutely pursue this." Ashley hadn't said anything. She was still scrolling through my Instagram, looking at photos of my work in Paris, at comments from fashion bloggers and boutique owners, at proof that everything she dismissed was real and valuable and recognized by people who actually mattered in that world. "The dress I'm wearing tonight," I said, looking directly at Ashley, "is called Quiet Luxury. That's the name of the collection. The whole concept is about confidence that doesn't need to announce itself." Ashley looked up. Our eyes met. "I designed it for people who know the difference between looking expensive and being valuable, between performing success and actually creating something meaningful." The silence was thick. Ashley's face was unreadable. Then she did something I didn't expect. She laughed. Not her usual performative laugh. Something smaller, more genuine. "I've been such a jerk to you," she said quietly. "Yes. No sugarcoating, no making her feel better. You have." I don't know what I thought. She looked down at her Gucci dress. "I've been spending money I don't have, trying to look like I belong here, and you've been actually building something real." It wasn't an apology, not quite, but it was acknowledgement. "Why didn't you say anything?" Ashley asked. "Why didn't you tell me to shut up?" I thought about it. "Because I didn't need you to believe in me," I said finally. "I needed to believe in myself first." The party continued around us, but something had shifted. People kept approaching me, asking about Paris, about the designs, about how I'd done it while working full-time. Lauren pulled me aside. "I'm serious about being disappointed," she said. "You're one of our best strategists. But Mia, what you're doing is incredible. I'd never forgive myself if I tried to talk you out of it." "Thank you. Can I ask, how long have you been designing?" "Since I was 14. Seriously, for about a year." "And you just decided to go for it?" "I decided I was tired of wondering what if," I said. Lauren nodded, looked out at the party, at Ashley near the bar, quieter than usual, at all the people performing success in a conference room. "I think about that sometimes," she said quietly. "What I gave up to be here. What I might have done if I'd been braver." "It's not too late," she smiled, sad. "Maybe not, but it feels like it sometimes." I understood that. The weight of choices made years ago, the momentum of a life you built even though it doesn't fit anymore. "I should mingle," Lauren said. "But Mia, I'm really happy for you. Truly." She meant it. I could tell. The party wound down around 9. People started leaving. Early flights tomorrow, kids at home, the usual excuses. Ashley found me near the windows. "Can we talk?" "Okay." We stepped into an empty conference room. Ashley closed the door. "I've been really awful to you," she said. "Yes. I don't I don't even know why. You were never anything but nice to me." I waited. "I think I was jealous," Ashley continued. "You seemed so comfortable, like you didn't need external validation. And I've spent so much money and energy trying to look successful because I feel like if I don't, people won't take me seriously." She gestured at her dress. "This cost $3,000. I put it on a credit card. I have $17,000 in credit card debt from trying to look like I belong in rooms like this." "Ashley, I saw you in your simple dresses and your minimal jewelry, and I thought you just didn't get it, didn't understand how the game was played." She laughed bitterly. "Turns out you were playing a completely different game, one that actually matters." "Fashion isn't more important than marketing," I said. "No, but building something you care about is more important than pretending to be something you're not." She was right. "I'm sorry," Ashley said, "for every comment, every dismissive look, every time I made you feel small. You didn't deserve that." This was an apology, a real one. "Thank you," I said. "Are you really quitting?" "Yeah." "That's scary." "Terrifying," I agreed. "But you're doing it anyway." "I'm doing it anyway." Ashley nodded. "That's brave. I don't think I could do that." "You could, if you wanted to badly enough, if you found something that mattered more than the security." "Maybe." She didn't sound convinced. We stood in silence for a moment. "Your work is really beautiful," Ashley said finally. "I looked through all your Instagram. The construction is incredible. I don't know anything about fashion, but I can tell it's special." "That means a lot," I said. And surprisingly, it did. Not because I needed Ashley's validation, but because giving it cost her something, cost her pride, cost her the performance she'd built. We went back to the party. Things felt different now, lighter, like a weight I'd been carrying without realizing had finally been set down. Jordan texted, "How'd it go?" "Perfect," I sent back. "Tell me everything." "Tomorrow. It's a lot. I'm so proud of you." I smiled at my phone. By 10 o'clock, the party was over. I took an Uber home, changed out of my dress, hung it carefully in my closet, and sat in my spare bedroom, my sewing machine waiting, fabric stacked neatly, orders to fill, a future to build. My phone buzzed. Email from Claudette. "Vogue confirmed your interview next week. They're very excited. Also, I wanted you to know, I showed your work to the selection committee for Milan Fashion Week. They want you for September." Milan. After Paris, after Vogue, after everything I'd been too scared to dream about 6 months ago. I texted Jordan, "Milan Fashion Week, September." "Stop it." "I'm not joking. Mia Chen, I am coming over right now. It's 10 p.m. I don't care." She arrived 20 minutes later with wine and a box of cookies. We sat on my floor, surrounded by fabric and possibility. "You did it," Jordan said. "You actually did it." "I think I'm just getting started." "Scary?" "So scary." "Good. The best things always are." We stayed up until 2 talking about the future, about quitting Morrison and Blake, about hiring help, about production partners and boutiques and fashion weeks, about building something from nothing, about betting on yourself when no one else will, about the moment you stop asking for permission and start taking what's yours. Monday morning, I walked into Lauren's office. "I'd like to give my 2 weeks' notice." She nodded. "I figured, the Milan client? I'll help transition them to someone else, but I can't lead the account." "Understood." Lauren extended her hand. "Congratulations, Mia, on everything." I shook it, walked back to my desk, and started packing up 2 years of pretending I was satisfied with safe. 2 weeks' notice felt like an eternity. Every day at Morrison and Blake was strange. People knew now about Paris, about Vogue, about the fact that quiet Mia Chen was actually building something extraordinary. The energy shifted. Colleagues who'd barely noticed me before wanted to connect on LinkedIn. Brittany asked if I'd designed something for her. Even the senior partner stopped by my desk to congratulate me. Ashley was different too. She still wore designer clothes, still performed confidence, but something had softened. She helped me pack my desk on my last day. "What are you going to do?" I asked. "Stay here, I guess. Try to actually do good work instead of just looking the part." She handed me a box of pens. "Maybe pay down this credit card debt." "That's a good start." "Will you, I know this is weird to ask after everything, but will you let me know when your website launches? I want to support you." I looked at her, genuinely. "Yeah," I said, "I will." My last day was a Friday. They threw a small goodbye party, cake from the grocery store, cheap champagne. Lauren gave a speech about taking risks and following dreams. It was nice, generic, but nice. At 5 o'clock, I walked out of Morrison and Blake marketing for the last time. No job, no steady paycheck, no safety net. Just orders to fill and a Vogue interview in 3 days, and the terrifying freedom of betting everything on myself. Jordan picked me up. "How does it feel?" "Like jumping off a cliff." "Good cliff or bad cliff?" "I'll let you know when I hit the ground." We went to my apartment. My spare bedroom was chaos now. Fabric everywhere, patterns pinned to the walls, my sewing machine running constantly. I had 3 weeks to fulfill the Geneva order, 40 pieces. I couldn't do it alone. "I need help," I said. "What kind of help?" "Production help. Someone who can sew, who understands garment construction." Jordan pulled out her phone. "My cousin Isabella. She went to fashion school, graduated 2 years ago. Can't find work in the industry. Can she sew?" "Better than you, probably." I laughed. Isabella came over the next day. 26, talented, underemployed, and frustrated. I showed her my work. "This is clean," she said, examining a seam. "Really clean. Who taught you?" "Myself, mostly." "Seriously?" "YouTube and a lot of mistakes." Isabella smiled. "I like you already. What do you need?" I explained the Geneva order. She didn't hesitate. "I'm in. When do we start?" "Tomorrow?" "Tomorrow." We worked out payment, fair rates, profit sharing on future orders. Isabella brought her sewing machine over that weekend. We set up a real production space. 2 machines, a cutting table, better lighting. It felt professional. It felt real. The Vogue interview was Tuesday. A reporter named Sophie came to my apartment, photographer with her. They wanted to shoot me in my workspace. "Tell me how this started," Sophie asked. I told her everything. The corporate job, the late nights, the risk of the design competition, Paris, the moment I decided to actually try. "What made you finally do it? After years of designing in secret, what changed?" I thought about it. I got tired of living a half life, tired of being one person at work and another person at home. tired of playing small because I was scared of failing publicly. And now? Now I'm terrified all the time, but it's a better kind of terrified, the kind that means I'm actually living. Sophie smiled. That's a good quote. The photographer took pictures, me at my sewing machine, holding fabric up to the light, examining a finished piece, looking out my window at Chicago. These are going to be beautiful, the photographer said. The article would run in 3 weeks. March issue, international distribution, my face and my work in one of the most prestigious fashion magazines in the world. How does it feel? Jordan asked that night. Unreal. Good unreal or scary unreal? Both. The Geneva orders shipped 2 days early, 40 perfect pieces, each one hand-finished by me or Isabella, each one exactly to specification. The boutique owner sent an email. These are exquisite. Our clients will love them. Let's discuss expanding the partnership. Orders kept coming. The London buyer wanted 60 pieces. A boutique in Tokyo reached out. A stylist in Los Angeles wanted to borrow pieces for a celebrity client. You need a website, Isabella said. I have Instagram. You need a real website. E-commerce, professional. She was right. Jordan knew someone, a web designer, reasonable rates. The website launched 2 weeks later, miachendesign.com. Clean, minimal, just like my work. A lookbook from Paris, information about custom orders, contact form for wholesale inquiries. It felt official, like I was actually a designer now, not just someone who sewed clothes in her spare time. The Vogue article dropped on March 1st. I woke up to hundreds of Instagram notifications, people tagging me, sharing screenshots, commenting about the article. My follower count jumped from 15,000 to 43,000 in 6 hours. The boutiques who'd been considering carrying my work suddenly wanted to finalize contracts. Press inquiries flooded my email. A podcast wanted to interview me. A business magazine wanted to feature me in their Entrepreneurs to Watch section. This is insane, I said to Jordan on the phone. This is what happens when you're actually good at something and people finally notice. I pulled up the Vogue article on my laptop. There I was, full-page photo. Mia Chen, the designer who chose passion over paychecks. The article talked about my journey, about designing in secret for years, about the risk of Paris, about quitting a stable corporate job to pursue something uncertain. Sophie captured it perfectly, the fear, the exhilaration, the moment of choosing yourself. I posted it to my Instagram. Caption, sometimes the scariest thing is also the rightest thing. Thank you, Vogue Paris, for believing in the quiet revolution. 1,200 comments in an hour. People sharing their own stories, their own risks, their own moments of choosing passion over security. You inspired me to finally open my bakery. I quit my law job to paint full-time because of stories like this. Thank you for showing that it's possible. I sat in my apartment, my studio now, surrounded by fabric and possibility, and I cried. Happy tears, grateful tears. Tears for the version of myself who'd been too scared to try, who thought she had to choose between security and dreams, who made herself small in corporate meetings and swallowed her ambition because it felt safer. That version of me was gone. This version was just beginning. It's been 8 months since that office party. 8 months since I walked into Morrison and Blake and my own design and told Ashley the truth. 8 months since I quit my safe job and bet everything on myself. Here's where everyone is now. Ashley's still at Morrison and Blake, but she's different. She paid off her credit card debt, stopped buying designer clothes she couldn't afford, started dressing in pieces she actually likes instead of pieces that perform wealth. She texts me sometimes, updates about work, questions about following your passion. We're not friends exactly, but we're not enemies either. She's figuring it out. Lauren got her promotion, Director of Marketing. She deserves it. She's good at what she does. And she seems happy, or happy enough. Morrison and Blake is thriving. The Milan client loved their work. They don't miss me. Someone else is writing copy about software solutions. Someone else is sitting in my old desk. Someone else is playing small in meetings. The world keeps turning. And me? I showed at Milan Fashion Week in September. My collection sold out. 3 major department stores picked up my line. I hired 4 more seamstresses, moved my operation to a real studio in West Loop. Isabella's my production manager now. Jordan quit her job too. She's my business manager. We're building this together. My designs are in boutiques in 12 countries. Vogue Paris featured me twice more. I was interviewed by Forbes about sustainable fashion and slow design. A celebrity wore one of my pieces to a premiere. The photo went viral. My website crashed from traffic. But here's the thing I want you to understand. The thing that matters more than any of that. I wake up every morning and do work I love. Work that means something. Work that's mine. I'm not performing anymore, not pretending to be satisfied, not making myself small. I'm building something real, with my hands, with my vision, with the belief that quiet confidence is more powerful than loud performance. So now I need to know something from you. You've been with me through this entire journey, from that terrible office party to Milan Fashion Week, from corporate Mia to designer Mia, from scared to brave. What part of this story hit you hardest? Was it the moment Ashley mocked my dress? The Paris reveal? The decision to quit? The Vogue article? Drop a comment and tell me. I want to know what resonated. What made you think about your own life, your own risks you're not taking, your own dreams you've labeled someday? And where are you watching this from right now? Your city, your state, your country? Let me see how far this story has traveled. Because here's what I've learned in these 8 months. Stories like mine aren't rare because people aren't talented. They're rare because people are scared. Scared to fail publicly, scared to leave security, scared to bet on themselves when no one else will. But here's the secret nobody tells you. The fear doesn't go away. I'm still scared every single day. Scared I'll mess up an order. Scared the next collection won't sell. Scared this whole thing will collapse and I'll have to admit I was wrong. But I'd rather be scared while building something meaningful than safe while dying slowly in a job that drains me. Do you know someone who needs to hear this? Someone stuck in a job they hate? Someone with a passion they've buried? Someone who keeps saying someday, but never today? Share this story with them, right now. Send it to your friend who paints on weekends but won't call herself an artist, your brother who writes songs but won't record them, your sister who dreams about starting a business but never takes the first step. Share this story because maybe it'll be the thing that pushes them, the permission slip they've been waiting for. And if you're that person, if you're the one who needs to hear this, listen carefully. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a massive budget or connections or a degree from a fancy school. You just need to start. Take one small step. Submit one application. Make one prototype. Tell one person about your dream. Choose yourself, even when it's scary, especially when it's scary, because the world doesn't need more people playing small. It needs you, your vision, your voice, your particular brand of magic that only you can create. So hit that subscribe button if this story meant something to you. Like this video if it moved you. Share it with someone who needs the reminder. And comment below. Tell me your story. Tell me what you're building. Tell me what you're too scared to try. We're building a community here, a community of people who refuse to settle, who choose passion over paychecks, who bet on themselves even when it's terrifying. Join us. This is Mia Chen, designer, risk taker, former corporate employee who finally got tired of living a half-life, reminding you the scariest thing is also the rightest thing. Your someday is today. Now go out there and prove it.